Hi, and welcome to Scrap Your Stash with Wilna Furstenberg. And today we are going to scrap our stash using brads and buttons. So I have a bag, a Ziploc with all my brads and buttons, and that's just my disorganized way of organizing them. So I just always throw them inside. And I have a whole basket full of little 6x6 paper pads. And today I was thinking it will be an awesome way to use these in making a scrapbook page. I'm also going to be using thickers and a square punch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I got some papers that range from grey to orange, yellow and pink. And I used the square punch and punched a square approximately 2 by 2 inches from each little paper pad. Now the pieces that are left over will go back into my stash, and this is also a cool idea if you have a box full of cut-off papers. I'm sure you can find the perfect colors to match those. I used paper pad from Crate Paper on Trend, which I love. Also some of the Studio Calico Sundrifter. There's a whole bunch of different paper pads that I used colors from, but you can see the color range, and that's exactly what I wanted. So that's the On Trend paper pad, and the Sundrifter, that is from the collection 14. And now I'm going to assemble my brads, and the brads are also in the same range of colors. The background paper is from Studio Calico Sundrifter collection, and those two pieces of ribbon is by Dear Lizzie from her Lucky Charm collection, and they're almost going to be like the border of the page. I'm arranging those little squares from yellow to orange to pink to grey, and now I'm just going to mix or assign a button to each of them that I feel will work well. You can see I started with the yellow and I worked it up with black. So that's an awesome way just to use your stash of buttons. Adding that little detail from Dear Lizzie, also the Lucky Charm collection. And now I'm going to do something that is not for the faint of heart. I'm just kidding. I'm going to add thickers on my photo, and then I'm going to hot emboss it. But before you start doing that, take an anti-static bag. You can see I have one in pink on the screen, and just wipe it over your photo, and then you lay down the thickers. And you can make your own by just taking old pantyhose and adding some baby powder to it, and maybe cover it with a couple of layers of pantyhose, and that works fantastic. So once you've added your thickers, I'm taking the Versamark embossing pad and I'm just dabbing it on the letters. You can see I'm pressing very lightly because I don't want any of the medium to touch the picture. And now I'm just going to hot emboss it with gold. And I'm using American Craft embossing powder. And maybe I wasn't kidding when I said this is not for the faint of heart. You will see what the anti-static bag did. You can see there's hardly any of the embossing powder on the picture itself, and those are quite expensive if you buy them in a store, so it's super cheap just to make your own, like I explained. Now taking the hot tool and just heat it up, and be careful not to heat up your picture as well, even though mine made a little bubble, but that's fine. This is not the only copy of this specific picture. And you can see how it literally turned into gold when it hot emboss. And I love this. There's a spelling mistake. I should have said Jana loves fun, but I'm just totally blaming it on the fact that English is my second language. Right, I'm using the gold dots from Dear Lizzie as a backing of the picture, just to repeat the gold of the embossing. And I'm just going to adhere everything to my page, and I'm speeding the video up to show you just how I'm doing this. Right, taking my hot glue gun, I'm just adding a dot at the top and bottom to adhere the ribbons, and I'm just going to adhere the little paper squares with hot glue, just a dot in the middle. So I'm arranging it from dark to light, and I'm adding the brads as well. I like to take off the brad part of the brad with tweezers or some pliers, but sometimes you can't, so then I'll just pierce it with a paper piercer. But whenever I can, I take it off, and then I just adhere it with a little bit of hot glue. As you can see there. Now I'm just going to add some paint splatters. I'm distressing the edges of the page, and just some yellow. I think it's called Taxi or Buttercup from Studio Calico, and just splatter a little bit of yellow. And then I'm going to add my journaling on the button side of the page, like I indicate there. So my challenge is to use your 6x6 paper pads and buttons and scrap your stash. This is Wilna, and I love my hot glue gun.